Uh, Hi everyone. So I'm Matt. I'm the CEO of and co-founder of Photoroom. So before we dive into the panel session, I wanted to give a few anecdotes from the past few months and highlight why we started this report. So first, we've seen a big consumer shift, and I'm sure you've experienced it. More than 1 in 4 American now use ChatGPT or another LLM to research before buying a product, not Google search, LLMs. So your customers are already asking AI where to shop. That's the first thing we've seen in the past few months, accelerating super fast. Second, we're seeing a big infrastructure change. And one of the most striking conversations I had in the past few months was with one of our big customer, and what they were doing is killing a big photo studio facility project of millions of dollars because they were seeing the AI shift and they were seeing the future was happening on the AI side. And it's not supplementing, it's just replacing like this big project by AI and software. And most recently, third anecdote, there are new standards that are coming. I'm sure you've seen Google announced a universal checkout protocol a few weeks back. And essentially what's happening is like the standards for checkout are also changing super fast. And when discovery and checkout get easier, that changes a lot of things. And it's a big infrastructure change. So this, as you've seen, is like just a few months of anecdotes condensed, and it's happening super fast. I've been in the AI field for a bit more than 10 years now in different companies, starting Photoroom 6 years ago. And people, if you're like me, you've seen the fantastic acceleration in the past few months. When we started Photoroom 6 years ago, we had the thesis, we had an idea, an intuition was that AI was going to change how software was going to be built, how we do image editing, and most of the progress was going to be on the AI side for imaging. And actually, our first growth came from eBay sellers 6 years ago, already helping them with AI. Now, we're not 2 co-founders anymore. Photoroom is more than 100 people, and we pour billions of images a year for millions of sellers. And also, we pour directly platforms and marketplaces like DoorDash, Amazon, Mercari, Rappi, Vinted, which are some of the world's largest marketplaces. But what's different about the past few months is we've seen a very fast adoption. We've seen what was taking a few years to adopt before is now taking a few weeks or months. This is like changing super fast. And it's not only about getting better images or better text description for products, it's actually impacting the GMV of marketplaces. We see real impact in production. And that's the acceleration. And one thing that happened as we saw this acceleration, we were talking to more and more leaders, is people were seeing also this acceleration. Like all of you were saying like AI is impacting the way I do my marketplace. And people were taking like big bets on infrastructure, on vendors and capabilities, but everyone was kind of doing that in isolation, which was a problem. There were no benchmark, no shared learnings, and a bit of anxiety, to be honest, about the ROI of some of the initiative, and some questions about trust, about speed, about future-proofing of the technology people were adopting. So we tried to we wanted to have different opinions and collect that into something that would be useful for marketplace leaders. So we interviewed 10 marketplace leaders here. We surveyed more than 2,000 shoppers, and we used external data to combine all of that in this report. And we try to make it very actionable, not only about thought and theory, but really into practice and actual tips. And here it is. I'm very excited about this report. I'm also super excited that Jeff is going to lead the panel. I don't think there would be a better person to do that. So here it is, Jeff Strauss to lead the panel session. Thank you all, and have a good session.
Far too kind, boss. Far too kind. So, hey, good morning, good midday, and good evening to folks from all across North America and Europe. Really, really impressive group of folks already. I'm going to jump in really quickly as our panel starts to load in here and explain how this will work today. So we've got three themes. We've got 25 minutes, and I'm going to jump in really quickly. We're going to have questions directly to the panel, and then we'll have some polls for all of you to participate in. Should be pretty fast and really fun. So if you haven't had a chance to read the report, we found that AI drives measurable results when embedded across marketplaces and especially in operations, from catalog enrichment to onboarding content QA. Rappi saw a 20% lift in buyer conversion after improving product imagery. 20% lift in conversion. Mercari, their AI workflows now generate hundreds of listings per minute, cutting time to list by more than half. Here's your first audience. Here's your first question. Before we dive in too deep, I would love to see where everyone is at in their AI journey. Aisha, do you have the poll? So if you don't see on your right-hand side in the chats, that's where I see the polls. So still experimenting, piloting, scaling, or fully integrated. I hope you're the last. All right. I expected to see these numbers come up on screen. How far along is it? That seems to be working. And I think we're supposed to get some statistics to come up, hopefully. I don't see them. I'm going to move on to the panel questions. We just don't have enough time to
Just
wait.
had the results from the poll, Jeff.
Oh, great.
So fully integrated seems to be the highest at 33%, followed by pilots and in specific workflows at 28, and scaling across multiple teams at 22. Still experimenting as a least, so 17% of our audience. Yeah, unfortunately, I don't know why that's not showing up, but those are the stats. We did have some participation in the poll. Just as you said, fully integrated is where most of the people are. So awesome for our audience.
Excellent. So to the panel, where have each of you seen the clearest, most measurable impact of Gen AI in your marketplace or portfolio so far? Jacek, do you want to start us off? And then maybe Anne-Claire and Laura. I think Laura's in here somewhere. I don't see her, but...
Here.
Oh,
yes,
Laura,
absolutely.
I'm sorry. Anne-Claire's gone. She was here a moment ago. Jacek, you want to tell us what's been the biggest improvement there?
Yes, hi everyone. So I guess for Depop, a resale fashion company that we are, the biggest impact has been right at the moment. Someone decides to sell something on Depop. So I think everyone can think the same, that taking photos is quite laborious, especially if you're creating new listing. It's probably the most difficult part, and hence why we've partnered with Photoroom to help us with that, to make it as easy as possible. And just to explain a bit about Depop, it's basically a user-generated marketplace, and our community is creating the experience. So if creating a listing feels difficult or time-consuming, that literally immediately becomes a barrier to entry, and especially for new sellers. So integrating Photoroom in our seller flow, that means that people can create clean, consistent images without needing to be masters in editing skills, and without leaving the app as well. So that I think was the biggest barrier for us, and also just thinking about the professional sellers who we also have on our platform, and the new sellers and people who don't have that much experience. We really managed to bridge that gap and make all the listing look maybe not unified, but at least more professional.
Excellent. Laura, I'm not sure if I was going to put Anne up there next, but I'm not sure if she's here. Are you here, Anne? All right, Laura, do you want to tell us from your, I think you bring a very unique perspective. What do you see here?
Yeah, happy to jump in. And quickly, I'm Laura. I'm a senior investor at Balderton Capital. I spend a lot of time investing in consumer marketplaces and AI native products across Europe. And I love the space. Prior, I worked in e-commerce for years at companies like Abercrombie and Fitch and H&M. And with regards to your question around where you've seen the most measurable impact of Gen AI, I'll bring the investor lens. So from an investor lens, I think the clearest impact shows up in where Gen AI changes the underlying economics of a marketplace. And today, a lot of that's happening through operations. To give you an example, catalog structuring, image QA, seller onboarding, trust workflows are operational levers, but they directly improve conversion, reduce CAC, accelerate time to liquidity. And so what's scaling across the industry, at least what I'm seeing, is anything that turns manual bottlenecks into automated infrastructure, especially where those gains can compound over, hundreds of thousands or millions of listings.
And Claire,
Yeah.
glad to have you here.
Yeah, sorry, I had a technical issue. I can't
Okay.
solve everything if you don't have any Wi-Fi, so sorry. So no, I think the core of so I can introduce myself. Sorry, I'm Claire. So I'm Chief Data and AI Officer at Mirakl. And maybe to jump in with what you were saying, Laura, if it's the right moment. Clearly, we see that data and the web has already been the key storefront for conversions when it comes to marketplaces, and now the quality of this data is even more important with agentic, and AI is not only the thing we should maximize the conversion to, but is also clearly what could power and improve this data, both images and text, to be the storefront and conversion for shoppers.
And Claire, what would be the most surprising thing for you, either adoption or outcomes?
I think the most surprising things for me is just using using AI is not the most important thing in bringing more value to your users, but how you can leverage this technology to align it with the expectation of your customers. And the way I changed my mind is before I was like, okay, we have to use the model, we have to improve, and if we are doing something that's better than before. But what I've learned over the past months, it's like the reverse or revert Turing test. In a way, if your users are feeling that it's something that is not leveraging AI and that is matching their needs, it's a win. But if they feel like, it's something that is transformed, that is not a real model, it's an AI generated model, or this text feels like ChatGPT, it's not filling their needs. So I would say not AI for the sake of it. That's me saying it. But I would say invisible AI that is really striking the customer and that is invisible.
Yeah, great. Jacek, on the seller side or internal operations, what friction has AI been able to help you to remove?
I guess putting my product design lens, I think that we always strived to make selling on Depop the easiest possible. In the past, the quality of listings depended on external factors. So things like lighting, space, editing skills. So as I said before, slightly, that meant that some sellers had better listings, rated the greater listings, or others struggled. And when you think about it, we have professional sellers who list on Depop, but also putting myself in the shoes of a seller who actually take photos in a bedroom with sometimes crappy lighting. And I don't have a studio. I don't have professional lights or SLR camera. So we really wanted to help with that friction between creating a great listing, but also making it super easy. So that's why providing tools that help create those cleaner visuals that makes listing feel better and also make the experience less intimidating, and not shy away from what you want to show from your inventory, and maybe thinking to like, oh, that photo doesn't look good, I'm definitely not going to sell. But actually, helping them to create more professional looking photos. That was the key that we really wanted to help our users. And also the effort, editing, taking photos, as I said before, is very time consuming. So how can we speed it up and make it super, super easy? So, and also think about it. Depop is secondhand resale fashion platform. So our items are already, not the one that you get off rack. So like, how can we also make those photos look better, even from your home, from your bedroom, or from your garage? So that was the main friction that we wanted to, move fast. And yeah, I think we achieved that so far.
Amazing. And Laura, I'm going to want you to chime in on this next one, but not until I hear from Anne and Jacek first. The biggest question that I run into as I talk to different folks around the industry is, do you build or do you buy solutions in Gen AI? And why? What helps you to make that decision?
So yeah, I think between build build or buy, the question is always what is really important for your user. And I think speed is really very critical, and because speed, being part of the first mover to learn, is the most important thing now. And as you were saying on design, this is also super critical, because you can iterate as long as you want on your crafting your own, sometimes models, complex architecture. In the meantime, you are not sure what really user wants. And that's the most important. So the way we are making this kind of choice is first speed. What can help us to go faster on the market? So we leverage foundations model, we leverage model of Photoroom to go and to test, but always with a plan about what can come next. And just to give a feedback, we have done that with one of our product, Catalog Transformer, that is accelerating and improving the quality of catalog onboarding when I'm a seller. And the problem we shared is I need to transform this product data, the text, but also the images to convert the better on marketplaces. We have powered a set of models, but we've started just by leveraging foundations model. Very expensive in 2023 with the GPT-4 at that time. And we say, okay, if we have a good problem because it's reaching the value we expect, it will cost us like $500 million per month. That's not viable. But at the same time, if we are not just going on the market, we don't know, we will not be able to craft the experience, to review the results, to align also the transformation that is done. And in the meantime, we realized that we were able to process things in less than 5 seconds per SKU, that it was reducing of 50% errors in categorization, enriching of 35 additional points. And we've learned so much about what I was saying. Oh, this title fits so much ChatGPT-like, and new problems coming up. That was the good call. So I would say always start with buy, because technology are moving so fast. If you are lucky and you have your market fit on what you are aiming to do, and user starts to like it, then after, okay, thinking the viability of cost and value and speed at scale.
Excellent. Yeah. I'm going to ask us to go really fast. We're 2 minutes over already.
Okay. Do you want me to answer that question, or
Yeah, I want to know.
Good question. Very good question. And I guess like we were thinking about photo editing tools for a long time, but did we have enough knowledge about it and experience? No, we didn't. So that's why we decided to partner with Photoroom. And also, from the very start, it was very collaborative. So it wasn't just, okay, let's use the API. It was actually, let's invite them, let's ideate together. We actually came up with an idea to do a hack week with our developers, with developers from Photoroom, and actually come up with a concept of like what works the best, and then test. And I think like that is being collaborative is the way. And that really worked with us. So yeah.
Lara, what do you think?
And from an investor perspective, I would say we usually, my answer doesn't differ too much from Jacek and Anne-Claire in that we usually favor partnering or buying when the technology is evolving quickly, which it is, and isn't the company's core differentiation. Meaning, I think the risk with building is opportunity cost. Like internal tools will often lag model improvements, while best-in-class vendors are going to be iterating on a weekly basis. And Claire kind of mentioned the winners stay agile. And I think so they focus internal teams on proprietary data and workflows and partner where speed, quality, and reliability matter the most. So yeah, I don't think you win by owning every model. You maybe win by owning the feedback loop and the data.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. And use multiple models. When, as a photographer, I didn't try to build cameras. I bought them and I use them. It's a tool. It's a way to get to the end point. And cameras are expensive for an individual to buy. Images are getting cheaper and cheaper and cheaper. And I'll be honest, these darn things, they made everything really cheap, right? So I've got now a poll for the audience. We've shared what's working. I'm curious, what's been the biggest blocker implementing AI into your teams? There it is. And we'll go really quick. Aisha, do you have any stats coming?
So this one is a Q&A, so people can essentially leave answers in the chat if they have any, and feel free to keep rolling. And if any answers come in, we can come back to them during the session.
Excellent. Our second theme, let me start my timer. Balancing implementation, speed, and trust. Oh boy, the ever so lasting question for any creative. How good is good enough and how fast do you need to go? Every operator we interviewed agreed, trust is the currency of all marketplaces. AI enables faster onboarding, translations, visual improvements, but unchecked automation can damage credibility. We've seen it, especially in the beginning of AI. It can damage credibility with them when precision or authenticity slip. So my question to the panel, Jacek, if you could start us off, how do you balance speed with reliability to develop trust when developing and deploying AI at scale?
Yes, absolutely. Especially now, I think like speed is key, especially for our sellers, automating almost most of the listing process. And it's speed is also important in the context of helping people list more easily and even list more items. But the key is we cannot compromise trust. And that's why working with Photoroom, there's obviously you have an array of different features that we could potentially use. What's important, especially when it comes to Depop, is using the right tools for your audience, for your users. So one of the things that we decided to go for is background removal, AI shadows. AI relight, especially, talking about those photos taken in bedrooms, potentially after work when it's dark outside. And the reason why we decided to choose those is because we didn't want to create a space where, for example, some of the items, especially items that are vintage, are misrepresented. Because the trust that is not just on the seller side, it's also on the buyer side. So that's probably one of the key things that we put as the main guardrail, as the main principle for our buyers, that we don't want to overstimulate the images that we're presenting on our platform with something that actually might not even be there. And sometimes even with changing lighting with AI, we can change the color, and that's not the case. So we need to be very cautious when it comes to implementing AI, but it definitely helped speed up so much the process of listing on Depop. So be thoughtful, I would say, with the users.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. You don't want returns because an image did not tell the truth to a customer, and then you've lost trust. And Claire, how do you feel about that?
Yeah, I have a quote that I'm using to always remind this principle to the team is shopper buy product data and then they get delivered of a good or of a service. So think about that. So that's always something I repeat to the team because they have to find their own trade-off in each of their decision every day based on that, but that help us to have like some core principles when it comes to information about security or norms. These are things we don't touch, we don't enhance. We want to have the reality of the seller and no, we are not making any AI improvement on that. And the second thing is, I think exactly the same one as you hit is what is really important is don't touch the product. The product has to be as it is, and I think this is why you have so much models and solutions that are creatives, and okay, the model are improving, but that's so much important. That's why we realized that Photoroom was a good model to use for our product data, because you clearly nailed that problem. You have to define what is the product in the image, and then after how to have a normalized or branded background or context or ordering of images. There are so much things you can do, but the product is the product.
Yeah, and can you share both Jacek and can you share the delineation between automation and when do you have humans interact? Do humans just come in at the end as QA? Do humans start in the beginning? Are there no humans? How do you guys go about that?
I think like one of the quotes that I'm still we use in our team and I keep repeating is AI should support creativity, not override it. And it should always respect things like authenticity, privacy, and safety. But when it comes to our listings, it would, as you said, Claire, do not touch the product. You can make it lighter. You can make, small editing to it, but don't change it, because that's necessarily what the seller is selling, and that's what the buyers will see when they actually get the package and they see the item. So misleading them, that would be a massive no-no for us. So as I said, support creativity, not override it. That's my motto.
And Claire?
Yeah, I think the vision we have, and we make a lot of parallel always with the autonomous vehicle, autonomous car, saying we were in a world where we were doing everything by hand before. Now we can use AI to assist us, and no one want to to go back to 3 to 5 years ago. It will be just a nightmare. But I think we are like more ambitious about how we integrate AI into that, saying what we've learned when we've used AI to assist user is we were able, for the catalog onboarding, just take it as an example, to reduce and to accelerate of 30% this process. But the way we think about it is how you can rely on AI or agents to delegate a set of tasks that would have taken you hours and days to do. And then what we've realized on doing this approach more, how could I delegate my job and let the human review? Because at the end, it's his accountability. He's the one in the driving seat and he don't want to die. So, and by having this approach, we were able to decrease of 90% the time of this process. But we realized that this 90% with better quality is good, but it's not great and it's not enough. The ability and the investment also for human to review the results and be able to understand what the AI is doing is mandatory and is not an option. Because when you process days and hours of task, you need to understand why it's done this way to trust and be able to say, okay, let's continue on the road with this car.
Laura, how do you feel about that?
And I'm so sorry. I also have horrible Wi-Fi today. So which
No.
question are we on right now?
So,
Is it still balancing speed with reliability?
no, drawing a line between automation and human oversight. And the reason I wanted to ask you specifically is humans are pretty expensive. And I know in my prior businesses that I worked at, the CFOs always wanted to save every penny. But then there were a lot of people on the merchandising side that needed to see accuracy, needed to see the right thing. Returns were always a huge deal. So, from your side as an investor, how do you view that?
Yeah, that's fair. I'll come at it from as an investor and then also formerly operational within commerce companies. I think not to be repetitive, but I think I'll summarize what Jacek and Claire kind of said is they both said in different ways, according to their workflows, that AI levels the tools, not the outcomes. So I think everyone can access models, but execution, data quality, and trust still determine who wins. And so I think human judgment is critical in high liability categories. It could be food, fashion, resale, like anywhere where accuracy defines trust. And I think the strongest marketplaces perhaps use AI to like enhance reality, not fabricate it or invent it, and keep humans in the loop where being wrong is punishing. So like I think speed without precision can destroy trust faster than perhaps it creates value.
On to another poll. Let's see what is keeping everyone up at night with Gen AI. What's your organization's biggest concern with Gen AI? And
Yeah, sorry.
So votes are just starting to come in on the side. I know we don't have the display, so I'm keeping an eye so I can report on the results. Please keep voting. We see the numbers are rising. I'll give it a few more, maybe one more minute, and we can look at what the results are. So far, accuracy and reliability seems to be taking the top spots. Like 62% of votes are for that right now. And reputational risk and loss of trust is, close second, but actually a big gap. We have 63% and 16% for reputational risks. So I think a lot of people are really concerned about accuracy and reliability. And I guess as the impact of that would be potential reputational risk and loss of trust. And then right after that, we have data privacy and compliance, kind of tracking the same as reputational risk at 17%. And speed of deployment is last at 8%. So I'm ending the poll now. Final results, accuracy and reliability, 58, data privacy and compliance, and reputational risk, 17 each, and speed of deployment is 8%. So that's how the audience is feeling when it comes to GenAI.
okay, gonna move fast again. Theme 3, and we only have a couple of minutes for this. The next era of marketplaces. What's gonna happen? This has been moving so fast. It's really amazing. The next phase of marketplace innovation is agentic AI, systems where agents autonomously handle listings, pricing, buyer interactions. Our research showed that most operators are not ready for this. And accuracy and reliability being one of your biggest concerns, it makes a lot of sense. So our poll is coming through with exactly what our report said. The future will belong to marketplaces that have clean data, structured catalogs, and a frictionless user experience. So to the panel, how do you see agentic AI changing marketplace workflows over the next year? And Claire?
Yeah, I can kick off.
Yeah.
So I think there are two different perspectives that I would split in what I call agentic commerce. Is the fact that shoppers are more and more starting their journey on AI platform, but could be tomorrow app on ChatGPT or the app you will have on Cloud, or even the shopping agent brands are building or retailers are building. And the second thing would be more agentic for operation. Maybe if I double click on the first one, we all seen the tremendous business opportunity of 1 trillion of transaction will go through a agent by 2030 just in the US, 3 to 5 globally, trillion of dollars, just for goods. So that's massive. That's a big opportunity. The challenge is going to be for product data to be richer. But I think also the fact that we will need that to ease the job of agent and of LLMs. And images are really rich in terms of providing information, but how we could ease by creating and enriching additional information like, oh, this a long dress, but long dress with light blue can mean that it's ideal for business cocktail. This one is more for summer or party. And these are information, if you are able to provide it at scale to LLM and your marketplace, it's going to be massive in terms of discoverability, visibility, and then after reliable checkout. The second thing is more agentic for operations, because also with this landscape and with this trend, all marketplace will need to be better at their operation than ever, because it will bring high transparency on price, also on availability. The impact of being out of stock or not able to fulfill the order that was ordered from ChatGPT is becoming even more critical. So I think like AI is really powerful, as we described, to accelerate things, maybe to anticipate also trends on your product at scale, analyzing what's happening to really help you to masterize operation that in a world with full transparency with agents will be more critical.
Yes.
I guess like we were talking about it, and historically, yes, I think as everyone, we were quite excited to implement the AI into our platform, and we've been saying, in some of the ideation sessions or with just prototyping, we were basically like, yes, there's a new AI feature. Oh, use AI, and then suddenly we realized that actually, yes, it is AI, but how can we make the user experience seamless that it doesn't even feel like AI? It actually feels naturally Depop. And that's, I think, where we want to get. And I think we are getting there slowly. But it's like even making people forget that they're using any AI within or ML in their user experience is actually the brand itself is becoming so easy to use, so fast to use, and it's basically guesses your next step that you forget that it's AI. It's basically the way you use Depop, and that's how you can also differentiate your company, your platform, your marketplace from other marketplaces. And I guess ultimately the experience should still feel human, trustworthy, and AI should operate in the background without almost being invisible. But things like creativity and connection, community and trust should always be the focus. So we'll never forget about that human side.
Yeah, thanks for bringing brand into this. This is something that's incredibly important and very hard to build. And I think that it's something that I'm just really, really glad you recognize that. Lara, anything to add there really quickly? Then we'll go into our lightning round. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, I think in terms of like what I'm excited about, and already what we're starting to see a little bit, is that marketplaces are starting to move from like helping users make decisions to actually executing workflows. Yeah. So things like pricing, relisting, substitutions, or fulfillment, like kind of some of the boring things, are starting to be, automated and executed quicker. So like on the seller side, like ops can run on autopilot, meaning they can focus on like outlier cases, customer service, creativity, growth. And then on the buyer side, kind of what Jacek explained is, and also on Claire, I'm hoping that we're starting to see it a little bit, but intent is replacing search. Like people describe what they want or need in natural language, and the marketplace coordinates that supply and transaction end to end. I think what's still missing is that trust layer.
Yeah. It's coming fast. The trust layer. I'm excited about that. So let's jump into our lightning round and try and wrap this up pretty quickly. So 1 minute each. we'll close with the final question. In one sentence, or maybe two, your boldest prediction on how will Gen AI reshape marketplaces in the next 12 months? Go.
I can go first, maybe, because it's something on my mind. I very quickly size and fit. I think this is another thing. Well, one of the things that AI still didn't crack. There's a lot of companies trying to do it, but I guess like virtual try-ons are fantastic, but they're still not telling me how the things are going to fit on me properly with size and my, for example, like how I'm built or anything. So I think that's going to be the pivotal moment when we are going to try to get that right, perfectly and accurately.
Great. I'll add, I think AI, like marketplaces that serve categories. So I'm thinking about AI native workflows for marketplaces that serve complex categories like B2B services or even like super long tail supply will benefit the most from this like AI revolution because AI can handle that kind of complexity. So I think we'll start to see, stock turn on older or kind of overlooked products start to increase. That's my prediction.
Excellent. And Claire?
I think Gen AI is gonna be very critical for the next generation of marketplace, or at least for the next big ones. Why? Because we've discussed a lot about it. It will help dramatically to increase operation, and also we haven't talked about that in the security, but also detect moderation of product at scale. So I think this is going to be the new booster for a new generation of marketplaces with agent in the operation, but also agent as a layer that is going to be used by shopper. And maybe the dream of the infinite inventory will be reachable with that. So.
Yeah. Really quickly, I want to recognize a couple of people in chat. Michael, I would 100% agree with you that AI should not be killing creative discussions. It should be enhancing those discussions. It should be making all of us have a more smooth way of describing visually with words. And that's always been a hard thing to do. And then, David, I think that's really insightful, I would say. The virtual tryouts are going to come to fruition and be big. That's been something since, boy, I remember in 2014 at Amazon, we tried to figure out how to get glasses to go on your face. And it was really, really, in that time, it was impossible. But we spent a lot of time and energy on it. And I do believe that we'll get to a point between LiDAR on your camera phones, making sure that sizing's correct in your faces, and we'll be able to put it all together at some point soon. I think that that's a really, really insightful point. So thank you. Laura, Jacek, and Claire, it was great to meet all three of you. I haven't met any of you before. I really appreciate very insightful and really great comments. So thanks for that. And I'm going to turn it over to Matt to close us out.
Thanks. Yeah, really, first I want to make a big thank for all the participants of the panel, so Jeff, and Claire, Laura, Jacek. It was very an insightful conversation. Really enjoyed it. And thanks you all for being there, attending the session, and all our other leaders who answer our questions. So I think, there were really good quotes, and you'll have it because we'll send the record. But basically, three takeaway. I think we need to stay agile to be future-proof. And Claire say, like, you need to be adapting the fastest and knowing what the best all the time. So agility seems to be very important as it's moving super, super fast. On speed, I think Laura and then Claire and a bit of Jacek, you quoted optimize for running by first to move fast, and then that's the best way to learn and to know how people are adapting. So it felt very key to have that. And the faster the technology is moving, as Laura highlighted, the most you want to learn and buy first and then see what people are using it. So it feels like speed is one of the most important metric. But speed without precision can destroy values, as we say. So Let's not forget about trust. Like a marketplace, it takes time to build trust. It takes time to build a brand. It's very important, and so let's make it important. And user, I love this quote from Unclear. User are buying product data, and don't mislead them. They're receiving product at the end. We say that internally now at Photoroom, like people buy pictures, but they receive product. It's very important. So what's next? This report is the first one. It's moving super fast. We are, of course, already thinking about what's next and super excited about session. If you see something from the audience or anyone, please tell us, because we are already working on the next version of it. So please reach out, and we're happy to talk about any things about AI in marketplaces. I think and the future is moving very, very fast. Logistic, the cost are going to go down with AI of the operation of marketplaces, pricing, relisting, ops, all of that is going to be changed. Super excited about intent is replacing search. Also, I think, as Laura said, that's just going to lead to new discovery of product and make marketplace that couldn't exist before exist tomorrow. The same way that Uber wasn't possible before mobile. Now new marketplaces are going to be possible. And when we meet next time for this report, I'm sure we'll see some new marketplaces emerging. So that's quite interesting and fascinating. So thank you all. I think Aisha had some logistics and house that she wanted to do. So I'll hand it to her. Thank you all.
Thank you so